Welcome to the Board of Commissioners meeting for Wednesday, October 22nd. We're going to call the meeting to order. It is 9:34 p.m. I'm sorry. It feels like 9:34 p.m. That's right. Meeting adjourned. No, sorry about that. 7:35 p.m. now. We'll call the meeting to order. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance led by our Vice President, Commissioner Brockington.
It's a full room of people. Oy.
Okay, thank you, Commissioner Brockington. Manager Elliott, would you mind calling the roll, please?
Yes, good evening. Commissioner Arman,
Here.
Commissioner Brockington,
Here.
Commissioner Cherico,
Here.
Commissioner Lewis,
Here.
Commissioner Norris,
Here.
Commissioner Rappaport, here, Commissioner Zieglenfeld.
Here.
All right, everyone's here.
Okay, thank you. Next on our agenda is the Sunshine Act announcement. I'm looking for Mr. Diazio, I believe is joining us remotely today. Perhaps. Don't see him. All right. You want to do the Sunshine Act announcement? Yeah. So we'll defer this, but for lack of a better description, the board met in executive session to discuss personnel on a couple of evenings this month, and we'll identify those particular dates before the end of the meeting. All right. I'm sorry. Including tonight. Correct. Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Okay, moving on to public comment on agenda items. This is the time on the agenda where we are affording members of the public, both here in the hall or on Zoom, to speak and provide public comment on any agenda item. There will be additional opportunities to speak on individual items that we'll be voting on, and also at the end, as always, during Citizens Forum, which is item 16 on the agenda. But for now, if you would like to be recognized to address any item on the agenda, please feel free to come up to the podium and you'll be recognized for 3 minutes. And then once we finish here in the room, we'll go to our folks who are joining us via Zoom. So anyone here in the hall who wants to speak on an agenda item, please come up to the podium. Good evening, Ms.
Good
Heath.
evening. Hi, thank you. So my name is Judy Heath. I live on Oak Road in Glenside. So first, I want to thank all the commissioners for your support and collaboration on the policy to protect our immigrant community. I know that some of the commissioners had concerns about drafting a policy, but despite those concerns, you acted with integrity and with speed, and we thank you. But we are also asking the township to engage in community outreach to people living and working in the township. They need to know about their rights and the township's commitment to equitable and lawful treatment of all individuals. Now, I am not sure how that's typically done, but we do hope that the policy will be communicated to all of our community residents and people who work in our community. I do know that it would be very helpful for the policy to be translated into the languages of our immigrant communities that reside and work in the township. So I know that the Cheltenham School District website has that capability of translating that communication into at least, I think there's like 6 different languages on the website. So we're just hoping that the policy will be communicated and people will know their rights in Cheltenham. But I want to thank you again for hearing our voices. We really appreciate that you created that policy, that you value your community, and that you considered the safety of all who reside and work in Cheltenham. And thank you so much.
Thank you. Yeah, Judy Heath. Thank you, Ms. Heath. Good evening. Just state your name and the area of the township where you live.
Good evening. My name is Sunhee Voles and I live in Glenside. Good evening again. I'm here primarily tonight as a Glenside resident, the daughter of an immigrant, and a volunteer with the Uri Center, speaking on behalf of the Korean American community, asking that Cheltenham Township pass a welcoming resolution with strong measures to protect our immigrant community. Nearly 100,000 immigrants live in Montgomery County. That's about 11% of the population. And to give a little more about my background and why this is so important to me, Cheltenham Township includes the old Koreatown, where we spent much of our childhood as a family, where my mom went to church, and where my siblings and I took Korean classes. There are countless other communities in Montgo and Cheltenham just like ours, hardworking people who are simply trying to get by like everybody else, and who add to the vibrant diversity of the community that made it so attractive to me and my husband when we were looking to buy our first home, which we did. Lately, I have been outraged and terrified to see the increased presence of ICE in our area and to see these agents acting with increased impunity, little oversight, and committing more and more flagrant civil rights abuses. We need our local municipalities to stand up and show solidarity with our immigrant communities. They are our friends, our family, our neighbors, and they are scared for their lives, their families, and their livelihoods. It's a fear that no one should experience simply for being born somewhere else. I know that as township commissioners, you can't keep ICE out of the community, but there are measures that can be taken to ensure that township personnel do not provide more assistance than is required by federal law. To echo the previous speaker, all communication and public information can be translated into the represented languages, Spanish, Korean, Vietnamese, Hindi, Russian, and Haitian Creole, so that everyone can access important information and understand their rights. This commitment to language access is essential to making Cheltenham a truly welcoming community. The township should also issue an administrative directive that ensures township police uphold equitable and lawful treatment of all individuals, regardless of status. For example, by directing township to not cooperate with ICE without a judicial warrant. More than ever, we need leadership standing up for our most vulnerable. Passing a strong, welcoming resolution shows Cheltenham's commitment to our immigrant community. It will alleviate the fears that are rippling through us and ensure trust between the township and our communities that we are all in this together. Thank you.
Thank you. And so thank you for those comments. And just for anyone who's not aware, we do have on our agenda as part of the Public Safety Committee report out the resolution that's been proposed and that we'll be voting on today, and it includes many of the things that the last speaker just identified. So to the extent anyone's not aware, it is something that's coming before the board this evening. So thank you, Mr. Peterson. Okay. Please state your name and
Randy Libros.
Oh, Libros.
Yeah, that's all right. And I live around the corner from Commissioner Norris, down the street from Commissioner Brockington. And I do want to thank the commissioners for all the work that's been done on the welcoming policy, and for the openness to really having this discussion. And that was really well illustrated at the public safety meeting last week. I felt like we really were able to have a good dialogue, and I hope that we can continue within that spirit. So I think that the policy itself is a very positive step, but I think that there's a little more that would really help to strengthen it and be consistent with the intent of the policy. And the intent of the policy, I think, is well explained in the whereas section, right? And I just want to highlight two of those. Whereas communities are made safer and stronger when every resident, regardless of their race, religion, gender identity, or expression, national origin, nationality, preferred language, or immigration status, feel comfortable and safe contacting, seeking help from, and cooperating with local officials. Okay. And another whereas, the board wishes to document and communicate its policies to encourage stronger and more effective communication between all residents and Cheltenham Township employees and officials. So we're recommending that rather than leave this as a general statement of intent, that the board include language in the body of the policy to ensure that these policies are clearly communicated to members of our community and in the languages of community members. And unless the policy is clearly communicated broadly throughout our community, how will anyone know that they can feel, as the whereas says, comfortable and safe contacting, seeking help from, and cooperating with local officials? At last week's Public Safety Committee meeting, the county prothonotary talked about an important program regarding domestic violence and efforts to let residents of the county know about it. And I recall from the discussion the statement that it can be a great program, but if nobody knows about it, it doesn't, yeah, I know. I wasn't going to call you out. And I know this is a little different. That was a program for serving people in a specific instance, but I think it's very parallel that if our neighbors, our friends, our family members don't know that this policy is in place, that it's not going to do it. It's not going to do good, and it's not going to serve its purpose. Thank you.
Thank you for those comments. Wiser words have never been spoken. While you were talking, I was talking to our manager. The policy, the resolution will be publicized on our website. And in terms of the translation, it's certainly something we can look into to the extent it gets passed. And I don't want to put the cart before the horse, but it is certainly something that we would be willing to look into.
Great.
So thank you for those comments. Yeah. Welcome.
Hi, Kaylee Taylor. I'm in the second ward. I live near Commissioner Brockington. I've had amazing interactions with the other commissioners. And I want to start off by saying, yes, thank you. I've looked over this policy and it's a great first step. In talking to other communities, I'm really grateful that Cheltenham didn't just say, hey, this is how we feel. We're going to put it in writing. And hopefully we're going to put it in writing tonight and vote for it. An amendment that I think is important to consider is we need to be looking at when ICE comes into our community, we need ID. Anybody could just roll into town from anywhere, any jurisdiction, or even just be a thug off the street and could be proclaiming that they're working for ICE. And in those instances, our community needs to not just accept that that's what they're saying. If they don't have proper ID, we need to be considering kidnapping charges. We need to be considering impersonating an officer, right? Like, we need to make sure that we know who it is. And there should be a paper trail. In any other industry, there's a paper trail. We need to know if you are doing things that are legal, put it in writing. If you're afraid to put it in writing, why? So I think that's an important piece. And I also think it's important that we need to actually look at these warrants. I am a therapist. I get calls all the time from people telling me that they're requesting my records. I don't even flinch. I'm not even going to talk to you unless you sign a release or you produce a warrant. And the first thing I'm going to say is you're not entitled to that because I care about making sure that this is above the law. It sounds like from other events, people have rolled in from other states to try and enact things. It sounds like warrants weren't adhered to because they were grabbing people that had nothing to do with the warrants. I think it's very important that we need to add language in there saying that we are going to double check your warrant and we're going to make sure you follow the warrant to a T, because if you're not above the law, it ain't happening in Cheltenham. So thank you guys so much, but please consider adding those two adjustments.
Thank you. Good evening.
Good evening. My name is Liza Barris. I reside in Wyncote. In 2020, after George Floyd, I went to Cheltenham's website and was delighted to find that we had a Human Relations Commission, a whole committee designed to protect civil rights, and look, a number to call if somebody needs help. I called that number. Nobody was there to answer it. I emailed the email address and nobody answered it. And so I found myself wondering, what if I needed help? I was just excited to help out, find out who these people were. But what if I actually had a problem and I needed help from my government? what would have happened and what's going on here. So I went about the task of finding out. Some of you remember this. Some of you were there the day that I was told that the committee hadn't met in like a decade. Some of you chuckled. For a decade, the website said that Cheltenham is here to help, but that number is dead. And so began the process of reviving it. We renamed it the Civil Rights Task Force, and over the next 5 years, we worked on publishing police data, supporting our student athletes from racist attacks, and more recently, the first Pride flag ceremony and the first Juneteenth ceremony. We did huge work in 5 years. And I know that people have been praising you for your resolution this evening, and I'll allow that it was a step in the right direction. But that very same night that you put forth this resolution, deep into the night, 10, almost 11 o'clock at night, when everyone else had already left, you attempted to dismantle the Civil Rights Task Force. And if it weren't for just a few people at this table, it would have died that evening. Ironically, to be replaced by the very HRC that hadn't met for a decade, the very HRC that I have not found one person who has been helped by in Cheltenham. Forgive me if I'm not filled with confidence that this resolution you're putting forth this evening will save a single soul. It doesn't even pretend to be a real policy. I want the rule of law. I want accountability for the police if they don't follow that law. You said that would take longer that evening. Well, we know this. We want you to take longer to do it. We want to save our neighbors, and we want you to do so. We are now in Montgomery County since May. ICE has snatched 70s confirmed, over 100 really. We know, but we can't tell because these masked men are not keeping good records. It's getting harder and harder to find out who they are and where they've gone and whether they're dead or not. 3 were snatched in Philly today. Juntos knows 2 of them, but they're trying to figure out the 3rd one. We don't know how many people were snatched, and those are just the people who were seen. What about the ones that nobody saw? What about the ones where somebody saw and didn't say anything, didn't record it? They just minded their business, saved their own lives. I'm going to wrap up with this. Something about the poem. You know what poem I'm talking about, right? That poem is not about trade unionists, and it's not about communists. It's about the fact that by the time they come for you, by the time you are calling the Monco Community Watch number, will it even be there? Some of you might have seen the Inquirer article, how they came for us. The Department of Homeland Security came for us. And it doesn't say in the article how close they came
Ms.
to
Nieres.
getting the list. I understand. I'm almost done. I'm almost done. So they came very close to getting my name, to getting the name of everybody who is out there saving souls from ICE. They got very close, if not for the leadership, 9 ACLU lawyers and a judge. They would have my name already. And so when they come for you and you need to call the Monco Community Watch number, maybe it'll be dead and maybe so will I. Do something now.
Hi, my name is Pam Albright and I live in East Cheltenham. Good evening. Before I start what I was going to say, I have to say I'm really concerned with what Liza just said, and I feel like of all times we need a Civil Rights, Human Rights Commission that's going to be able to do something to support and protect our members of our community, especially those people of color. And I really hope that that's not being dismantled. That's very serious. In terms of the immigration issue, I did want to express my gratitude and appreciation to all of the township commissioners and the township manager and the other staff that have been involved with writing up the written policy of the welcoming policy. I think it's a huge step to protect, publicly protect our immigrant friends and our friends and neighbors. And I'm really appreciative of the fact that you're willing to put something in writing. I think it's a moral and ethical thing to do. As each day we are faced with new assaults on our democracy. We can't afford to stay silent. It's each day there are more, people that are snatched up, people that are, going to be threatened, people that are made jokes about, people of color in particular. Just those horrendous racist jokes of the Republicans that J.D. Vance said, boys will be boys, or whatever, kids are, just kids, no big deal. I mean, this is the kind of attitude that our administration has, and we've got to fight that. So I think that we do have a good start. You have a good start with the policy, and I'm not going to go into a lot of details, but basically I support the addition of bringing, putting this out in the open and in our community in different languages so people know and feel a little more secure, those people who are at risk. And also, I think it's very important for the township, especially the police force, to be adequately trained as to exactly what to do if and when ICE comes along, because it's very, I can only imagine how stressful it must be as a police officer if you're all of a sudden confronted with ICE. You need to really be prepared and ready to stand up for what is right and what a township is proposing, so that you don't like buckle under the pressure. I mean, that's a real possibility otherwise. So thank you.
Thank you, ma'am.
Good evening. My name is Julian Saavedra. I reside in Elkins Park with my wife, Elizabeth. My son, Abram, is going to speak, but I'd ask his friends to come and join him as he speaks.
Sure, come on up.
Thank you.
So.
And you
so
guys,
we want to be able to see everybody. so
they can
make sure
stand
you
in
come
front
out
of, they can
the
stand in
podium.
front of the podium.
Yeah.
Scary for us.
Go ahead.
Hello, my name is Abram Saavedra, and my family and friends live in Elkins Park in Wingcote. First, I'd like to thank you all for being here today. It melts my heart to see so many people supporting immigrants, LGBTQ, and minority groups that are threatened by our current president. After the election, my sister Amalia and I, along with some of our friends, thought what was happening to certain groups in our country wasn't right. We know people in this townships who are members of groups that President Trump is targeting. We felt it wasn't right. When my friends and I first came together, we were afraid to speak up because we were worried that we could become targeted by Trump too. But then we remembered that we live in Cheltenham and we're safe here. So we decided that we were the perfect people to stand up for the rights of everyone in our community. So last February, we hosted an event called Fight for US, Us. Neighbors and friends came over for a potluck and performances. The proceeds from our event went to a nonprofit organization called the Welcoming Center, which helps support immigrants. A few weeks ago, we hosted a production of The Wiz, and again, the proceeds went to TWC. We love that the township is a safe space to live, and we want it to stay that way. We are grateful that the township is welcoming to people in the country. We know that the welcoming policy that the township worked on with the help of Mr. Randy, Miss Pam, and others in this room will inspire other townships to protect immigrant communities too. Our Cheltenham Township is brave. Our township is a perfect township to stand up for the rights of everyone in our community. Because of what the township is doing, we feel safe to keep acting and speaking up too. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak at this meeting.
So stay up here for a second. Stay for 1 second. Stay right here for 1 second. So, on behalf of the board, I want to thank you and your friends for amazing words, and the sentiment behind them. I want to invite you back to speak with us whenever something is on your mind and you want to address us, you are more than welcome to come do that. And one thing I'm going to say is if you end up sticking around for a little while, we're going to swear in a police officer tonight. And I want you to listen to the oath that the police officer has to swear. And I think it echoes a lot of what you said about how our police department protects everyone, regardless of where they come, who they love, and et cetera. Okay, so stick around for that. It's going to be later on the agenda, and I think you'll like to hear that. Okay, may we have your a copy anyway of your speak for your yeah. We'll take a picture of it. Okay, so you can keep it. Yeah, or do you have a copy already?
Mom and Dad, can we keep that?
We can keep it.
Can we keep that?
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, come around. All of you, come around.
Good job, guys.
Great job.
It's wrong. It's our area, you like John after Jen first, right? So it's John for a reason, right? What?
Who wants to follow that?
Oh, Lord. Lord knows I'm gonna try. Okay.
Okay. I just want to first say, I am so proud of these children, their tenacity. I believe that the Lord's left me here today. And honestly, the Lord led them here today. The Lord speaks through our children. We need to be listening to our children. Our children are a clear pathway to God. And you saw it tonight. You saw it. I felt it. If you didn't feel it, then I don't know. But today we're talking about protecting our immigrants. This is the first thing that we need to do. It's extremely important. It goes, I'm sorry, my name is Dawn Zapak. Hi, I live in Glenside. Hi, Matthew. Hi, Jeff. That will calm me down because I know a lot of everyone. But anyways, I'm a proud mom. I have 4 children. I have lived here for 14 years. In fact, Jeff knows me at the spa. I'm a small business owner. I know Bill from the township. I know a lot of people in this community, and there's a reason why I chose Cheltenham. Actually, when I was looking for a town, I was consciously choosing a place where it was diverse. I'm from Miami, Florida. I have a lot of friends that are people of color, different races, different origins, different religions. So I chose a place that I knew was diverse on purpose. I chose this place because I wanted my children to learn what it's like to love everyone like they are your neighbor. I did that on purpose. Okay. And I would like to say, I am just so thankful to our school district for teaching our children the right way of how to look at one another with love and compassion. Especially our teachers. My kids went through Glenside Elementary with Miss Robinson. She is a mentor of mine. I'm grateful for her. Sharice Nelson at Cedar Brook West. She has been an inspiration to me. These are women of color. These are people that I am proud for myself, or grateful rather, not proud. I'm grateful to them for showing me the way, and just like good energy, like good vibes, right? Like our kids are so awesome. Like my kids have so much fun in this neighborhood, but we're here about immigration and we have to protect our immigrants. So for instance, I have a cleaning service. I'm blessed enough to have a cleaning service, and it's called Jessica's Cleaning. It's a small, very small business. Jessica and her husband, Marcos, and they are from Brazil and they speak Portuguese. So today I just happened to be in my house and we started talking. We started talking through Google Translate and,
Your time is up.
oh, can I just say one more
Just one
thing?
last thing. Sure, go ahead, wrap.
One last thing. We need to treat people how we want to be treated. We need to be kind to our neighbors, and we definitely need to protect our immigrants. I don't see that much of a concern here because it's such a safe place to live. But nationwide, we are seeing ICE, and ICE needs to be stopped immediately. There needs to be policy put into place to stop ICE and cease and desist immediately. And that's all I have to say.
Thank you.
Hi,
Good
good
evening.
evening. Hi. Before I start, I have a quick question. I can comment on any agenda item, or should I wait until the second agenda item of Public Works comes up
You
to make
can,
my comment
for.
for Robinson Park?
Yeah,
I don't want to kill the mood here.
yeah, no,
So
Already done.
I'm
I talked-
happy to come up afterwards.
Now is fine.
No, it's fine. Okay, because this is just a different format that I'm used to. So my name is Brooke. I'm from Wyncote, and I want to thank all of my neighbors and my community. You guys are all awesome. I appreciate you coming and speaking up and standing up and contributing in all the ways that you do. So, but I'm here tonight as a member of the Board of Robinson Park, and I appreciate having the opportunity to speak to you before your vote. You've all been sent a letter from the Friends of Robinson Park this week regarding our comments on the agenda item from the Public Works meeting, October 8th, and we've also provided you with an alternative proposal for the project in the park. Now, to start, a reminder that the grant applications under which the funding has been secured for this project specify multiple opportunities for design review and public comment periods, depending on the quarter represented by the project plan. The Friends of Robinson Park were recently invited by staff to provide an alternative design that we feel accommodates the needs of the township while being respectful of the history and current usage of the park. As a result of our recent discussion with staff, we are encouraged to learn that the plan provided in the Public Works agenda from October 8th is not the current design plan, which has subsequently been further refined. However, the proposed design, as verbally described, appears to be very close to the alternative we propose. In that discussion with staff, the description of the township's revised design, which is currently under development now, reflects a riparian buffer that achieves the 70-foot required maximum for MS4 credits, but it does so through a disproportionate weighting of the buffer. We also understand that the buffer now in design is a forested buffer, and the advantages of forested buffers over meadow buffers are quite big. They offer superior performance in pollutant removal, flood reduction, habitat creation, which often translates into higher or more valuable MS4 credits for municipalities. They also provide a more effective and durable stormwater management solution, typically leading to more substantial credit opportunities. We believe that there are numerous benefits to the attached alternative proposal that we have developed, including the avoidance of nearly all the sewer lines, as well as a preservation of existing mature trees. With the recent loss of over 200 trees resulting from the Church Road Greenwood Avenue expansion project, the salvaging of trees in Robinson Park is a considerable benefit for our immediate community and those downstream. We also suggest the consideration of alternative turf grass, which offer more environmentally friendly benefits while remaining open space area. While preserving traversability and the illusion of open space, the replacement of the existing grass with clover, naturalized azusa, squill, and other low-height options will increase the benefit to our pollinators and create an eco-friendly environment. Ultimately, I believe that we are very close in agreement on a design that is a win-win for all parties. Our goals and those of the township are very closely aligned. We respectfully ask the commissioners to defer approval of the proposed resolution tonight to provide an opportunity for proper review of the alternative design presented in comparison with the current design proposed by the township engineer.
Your time's up.
I have 2 lines.
Okay, go ahead.
Where are we in the project plan to assure all avenues for public comment have been addressed? And we would appreciate clarification of the public comment periods referenced in the grant application alongside the project plan.
Thank you.
And to include in the public record, I have a copy of the notes and the proposed plan.
Okay, thank you. Thank you very much. Appreciate your time. Okay. All right, I want to thank all the speakers here in the hall. We have, it appears, a couple on Zoom. So continuing public comment on agenda items. The first person that I see here is Mary Russell. Ms. Russell? you may unmute yourself and you'll have 3 minutes.
Hi, I'll be a lot shorter than that. I want to comment on item number 10 on the agenda. I found that the Montgomery County Planning Commission has been very helpful in reviewing several other things. And so I know nothing about the details of that specific contract, but I certainly hope that the township continues to work with the Planning Commission. It seems like it's been a helpful collaboration. And my other comment is about 11B, the resolution, and I want to echo the sentiments of other people that I really appreciate the commissioners listening with an open heart and an open mind, because I know that this evolved considerably. And I agree that there are some other things that could be done to improve, but I'm very happy that well, I hope the vote goes the right way. I'm very happy that a good policy is on the agenda, and I would urge the commissioners to vote for it. Thank you.
Thank you very much for those comments. Next, I see David Guest. Mr. Guest?
Good evening, everyone. Thanks for your time. I'll be very brief. I'm actually speaking this evening on behalf of the Linwood Hall Preservation Foundation. I've spoken at a prior commissioners meeting. This is in regards to agenda item 9A, the Ashlyn Apartments proposal at 1900 Ashbourne Road, which is up for final land development approval. I'm just noting for the record that Linwood Hall Preservation Foundation has shared a few concerns with that developer regarding the right-of-way improvements proposed for the intersection of Spring Avenue and Ashbourne Road. We've been in touch with that developer as well as with the township, as well as with PennDOT, and we'll continue to be in touch with them regarding those concerns. We're not, the foundation is not opposed to the project, just wants to continue to work with all those parties to resolve those concerns. So I'll just leave it at that and just wanted to note it for the record. Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Guest. Next is Karenina Wolf. May I unmute yourself?
Hey,
Yep.
everyone. Good evening.
Hello.
I'm Karenina Wolf. I'm oh, sorry. Can you hear me? I just heard speaking. Yeah, we can. Okay. Hi. Good to see you all. Thank you all for being here. And thank you all especially to Pam, Randy, and everyone who's there. I see a person from East Cheltenham Cares. We're a community group that's formed in reaction to, I'm sorry, I'm home with a newborn. I apologize if you hear.
Excuse me, Ms. Wolf, we are having a little trouble with your audio.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't know if you have a different microphone.
okay. Oh, you know what? Yeah, let me. Okay, Bruce. Oh, I see. Hi, is that better?
That is better.
Okay, thank you so much. I'm sorry. Okay. One second. Sorry, I'm home with 2 small children. Okay. I just want to thank you all, and this is in response to the welcoming policy that we were proposing. And I just want to encourage to include items that have accountability for local police, and to remind you all that what we're doing is so vital, and that the way that it is currently written allows for us to say there's nothing that would go against. I know there were some concerns about, is this going to bring attention, but there's nothing that goes against federal law in terms of our commitment to only enforcing local law. But I would want to see accountability for local law, and to make sure that they are trained, and to have something regarding them being trained. So, and again, to echo like Haley's sentiment regarding that, and that we encourage, just to share a little bit, my mom's a Mexican immigrant and she lives in the area, and she's afraid. She's afraid to go to local cultural events. She's afraid to show up to things because she's afraid of what ICE's presence. And I think we're going to see, if we don't do something, if we don't take a stance, we will continue to see diminishment of our immigrant communities and their participation in events. And what makes this community so vital is the participation of diverse communities. So I'm going to go on mute. I apologize for the chaos, but thank you all for considering this event.
Thank you very much. I see Sonia Bryant Lockett. Ms. Lockett?
Yes, good evening to everyone. My name is Sonia Bryant Lockett, and I am a Lavrock neighbor. And I am speaking just briefly on item 9. I think it's B or C, the 1777 Willow Grove Avenue Development Project. And I just wanted to say tonight for the record, and I see my commissioner, Mr. Lewis, that my husband and I are very concerned about the traffic around that, area of the development project, and understand that there will be a traffic study to be done. We know that there has been some traffic study done recently, or at least it appears, but we're hoping that there is a significant traffic study that is presented to the neighbors, which would especially allow us to understand what the impact is going to be to us as residents. So we just wanted to make sure, on behalf of my husband and I, Geisen Lockett, we just wanted to make sure that that is represented tonight, and that it's discussed or put on the record as one of our major concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Okay. I don't see anyone else coming up for public comment on agenda items, so I'm going to close this item. And I'm going to, is Mr. Diazio back? All right, we're going to move on and come back to the Sunshine Act announcement in a minute. Item number 5, approval of the Board of Commissioners regular meeting minutes dated September 17th, 2025. Any comments or questions from the board? All right, seeing none, I will move for approval. All those in favor say aye.
Aye. Aye.
Item number 6, acceptance of the executive summary financial report for the month of August 2025. I will so move. Comments or questions? All right, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Item number 7, acceptance of the accounts paid report for the month of August 2025. I will move for acceptance. Comments or questions? All right, seeing none. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. All right, item number 8, something that is always a highlight of our meetings. We are going to be swearing in Raymond Gambone as a Cheltenham Township police officer. We have the Honorable Emmett Madden, Magisterial District Judge, doing the honors. And before I turn it over to Judge Madden and our soon-to-be police officer, I'll turn it over to Chief Slavin for a few comments.
Thank you, sir. This is an exciting night for Cheltenham Township Police Department. We're swearing in Mr. Ray Gambone. It's our newest member of the Cheltenham Township Police Department. Ray grew up in Montgomery County. He's a graduate of Upper Merion High School. And Ray went on to attend Wilmington University, studying criminal justice, and working towards completing his bachelor's degree there. Prior to applying to Cheltenham Township Police, Ray was employed as a correctional officer at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility. Ray served over 7 years at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility as a correctional officer and a member of their emergency response team. Ray comes highly recommended by his references and the command staff at the Montgomery County Correctional Facility. Ray has distinguished himself throughout the rigorous entry-level selection process and was sent to the police academy to complete his basic training back in May. Ray graduated from Temple University Police Academy on October 10th, 2025. He is currently completing his initial orientation training and will be assigned to our field training program in the coming weeks. Please join me in welcoming Officer Ray Gambone as he begins his career here in Cheltenham Township.
They probably have it on.
You go right there. Perfect. Somebody grab him. Oh, here. Oh, you want it? You don't. All right. We ready? Let's hear it. We're gonna have it so it's like a wedding. We can make everybody have to look at you. You're the bride. All right. Repeat after me. Raise your right hand. Thank you. I, Raymond Gambone III.
I, Raymond Gambone III.
do solemnly swear
do solemnly swear,
I will support, obey, and defend
support, obey, and defend
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of the United States,
the Constitution of this Commonwealth,
Constitution of this Commonwealth,
and the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
the Home Rule Charter of Cheltenham Township.
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
I will uphold, obey, and enforce
the law without consideration
the law without consideration
to a person's race,
to a person's race,
color, sex,
color, sex,
religious creed, or sexual orientation.
Yeah.
Religious creed or sexual orientation.
religious creed, or sexual orientation,
Gender identity and gender expression.
gender identity, and gender expression,
Age or national origin.
age or national origin,
Ancestry, handicap, or disability.
ancestry, handicap, or
Disability. And that I will discharge the duties of police officer of the Township of Cheltenham
and I will discharge the duties of police officer of the Township of Cheltenham
with fidelity.
with fidelity.
Second page. Congratulations, Joe. Thank you.
We're going to take a short recess for some photographs. Okay, folks. We're going to reconvene the meeting. Thanks for everyone's indulgence. And we're going to go back to the Sunshine Act announcement, which was item 3. Mr. Diazio is going to make the announcement for us. He is joining us virtually this evening. So Mr. Diazio, would you mind?
Yes, good evening. Thank you, Commissioner Arman. The board has met twice in executive session since last month's public meeting. Executive sessions were held on October 13th and then also this evening. Both matters involved matters of personnel. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Diazio. Moving on to item number 9. The Public Works Committee met on October 8th, 2025. Commissioner Ziegmanfeld is the chair of that committee. Commissioner Ziegmanfeld, will you please let us know what you have for the business of the board?
Thank you, Mr. President. I'm going to take a point of privilege and move item B to item A, because I think what we want to do is give the opportunity for update and discussion of Robinson Park, which was added during the Sunshine Act comments. So we're just going to move item B to the first item. And in that, item B is to authorize Gannett Fleming to proceed with final design services on the Robinson Park Stream Restoration Project, as proposed in its September 22nd, 2025 proposal, not to exceed $128,000. There are a number of revisions to that proposal that have occurred in this interim period. And I think what would be helpful is to have the head of our stormwater project, Samantha Brinker, come in and just update the community and everybody here on the activities that have occurred over time and the things that are planned in order to reassure people that there will be ample opportunity, not only for public comment, but for constructive and qualified outside expert input in order to influence and affect what ultimately is going to be done. So Sam, if you can, would you like to catch up the community?
How about now? Oh, there you go. I'm usually loud enough, so. So I just wanted to give an update on Robinson Park and go over kind of what we've done up to this point, and then I'll get into what the timeline looks like going forward. So the first step in any project is always community involvement and engagement. So back in May of 2024, we had the engineers prepare a concept plan so that we could bring that in front of the public and have something to work off of. So then in June, we held our first out of 3 public meetings. We've received public comment from our original concept plan, in which we opened for, I believe, 6 weeks. We had open public comment via email. And with those comments, we had the engineers go back and revise the concept plan to account for those, for that community input. We heard them loud and clear. They did, the community was very fond of the reflecting pool. We agree. We were able to, pivot into just doing the daylighting of the stream channel. And then following that, March of 2022, the engineers put a proposal in front of you to develop the 30% plan. So that was to go from concept to 30%. Those 30% plans are your base plan. This is, what it's going to look like. Not the final, but just the foundation to build off of. So in May, after a year of public comment, the board approved the engineers to move forward with that 30% design. We've been working with the community and the friends groups, consistently answering questions, making sure that they're involved, letting them know when meetings are. So we are engaging them quite a bit. Sorry. And then in October, at the Public Works meeting earlier this month, the township engineers put together a proposal for the 30% design to the 90% design, and also gave us the quote to final plans. So in front of you tonight, and what was represented at the Public Works meeting, is that new proposal, the $128,000 for the township engineers to continue to work on the plans. Since the meeting, we have reached out to DEP. One of the major concerns that we heard at that meeting was the riparian buffer. And they wanted to ensure that they got the most usable space they could out of the park. And also another concern was the realignment of the stream. And so when we had our discussion with DEP, the requirement is a 35-foot minimum for stream restoration in order to get credit. You will not receive credit if we are not providing that riparian buffer. When we approached DEP, we asked, okay, 35-foot minimum on each side, can we shift it? So what they have agreed to is 20 feet on the park side, we'll say, and then 50 feet up towards Greenwood Ave. So that allows more usable space in the park, but still meets the requirements and still allows the township to get the stream restoration credits. So moving forward, Gannett Fleming has fulfilled the 30% obligation. With the revisions, we're going to see those in the next phase, in the next design, from 30% to 90%. We are taking all the considerations that the Friends Group and the other community members have put in front of us. And with that information, the engineers will have the ability to continue to move forward to give us more answers. Right now, the answers are what you have in front of you, the 30% design plan. So moving the plan forward, if the board wishes, will help get more answers to help explain to the Friends of Robinson group and other community members what the final design will look like. There will be another opportunity for the public to comment on the plans as we get closer to the 90% design. Then the Bahar will be involved and we will be able to go to them. And also we will provide public comment And then once we get that feedback, that's when we go ahead and go into the permitting and submissions to the regulatory agencies.
Sam, are we in possession? Ms. Welsh represented that there's an alternative proposal design that's been provided to either staff or to Gannett Fleming. Is that in our possession, and will that be incorporated into the discussions and the considerations?
Yes, we received that plan last night of their alternate. I have been speaking with them, and we've already posed these questions as staff, and then their plan actually reiterates what we want to have the township engineers look into. And I believe it was emailed, but I will make sure that all the commissioners receive that alternate plan if it wasn't.
Thank you. Commissioner, I saw Commissioner Cherico, your hand was raised. Do you want to weigh in on this? I know that you've had some discussions with the Friends of Robinson Park, et cetera.
Sure, my question.
And then I'll acknowledge any other commissioner as well.
My question, talking about during this phase of the 90%, there are some things left on that map that kind of the layperson also might be interested on the design plan, that the layperson, might be interested to see what ends up happening with the pathways and the bridge and that sort of thing. Is there going to be an opportunity before we get to that 90% where we're going to get a better idea of where the pathways are, where the bridge is? I know that was an important component that was missing on the 30%.
Yes, so what I would recommend is similar to what the Friends of Robinson, that if any community member has something that they would like us to consider at the park, if they would like to email the township, we will receive that information and pass it along to the engineers for consideration. We are addressing relocating the community garden up towards Greenwood Ave outside of the project area. There will be bridges to navigate across the stream. And then, we're going to look into the options of other park amenities depending on funding.
So if I understand, and maybe this is something that we need to include in the motion, but if we wanted to be able to see where the pathways align or how they align, would there be an opportunity to see that prior to them going to the Bahar or these other third-party agencies to get approval?
We could talk about it on a staff level and find a way to communicate the preliminary design of those items to them and to the community. Maybe posting on a website, the plan, or, we'll have to talk more about it internally.
Commissioner Rappaport.
Yeah, thank you. And thank you for the update and the clarity. Do you have any idea how long it will take to get from, assuming this passes tonight, how long it will take us to get to the 90% design?
So that will be a question for our engineers, as they will be the ones to develop the plans. I believe they may be online. I can't see. I'm not exactly sure what the time frame is. Roger.
Mr. Phillips, do you want to weigh in on that question?
Yes, I'm looking for the copy of my schedule that I had. No, I didn't have that in front of me. So if you could give me a few minutes here to find that, or Nathan, if you're on and if you have it, can you?
Yes. To prepare the plan to get to the 90%, to get it to the point where it could be presented to up to the regulators, probably three or 4 months. That would also include getting together the permit applications. So depending on how public comment is interweaved into that, but that would be a pretty quick, reasonable timeline before it would get to a point where I think you're mentioning Samantha the Bahar would have a chance to look at.
Okay, so I just want to make sure I understand the timeline from the public's viewpoint. So sometime between now and the end of that is when this public we'll be able to see, and the board too, in case we have questions, that input will be before that, the end of that.
Yes, it will be before we submit to the regulatory agencies because, as you know, DEP and Army Corps will take some time to get through that permitting process. And by the time we get through that, we want to have the final plans secured because if we get issued permits and then have to go back, we're just starting
That's
the whole ball
exactly
rolling.
what's worrying
So,
everybody.
yeah, so that's where we'll offer the public comment again on those plans before we get to that regulatory stage.
Thank you.
Any other commissioners with any comments? So just a point here, you asked about the amendment or the revised proposal. I think one of the things we need to add is subject to additional consideration by regulatory bodies, by township staff, by outside subject matter experts, and by concerned parties in the community who have an interest or are bringing outside assistance as well. So I think if we do that, it is opening and entertaining additional input throughout the process. And this is not something that's going to happen overnight. Obviously, there's a lot of constituencies that need to be incorporated. So thank you, Sam. Do you have any other comments you want to make at this point?
No, we've been very transparent with the community groups and I will send out emails as I have been whenever it's an agenda item or when anything's posted.
Given the level of concern that's out there by friends of Robinson Park and other members of the community, I will open up if there are members of the board from FORP or people that have specific issues that have not been entertained or submitted that couldn't have been considered or wouldn't be considered in the course of getting this reviewed and up to that 90%. So we are open to additional input that would have either technical or insights that would be important to be considered as part of the review process, if there are any. And if there aren't any, then we can move forward in authorizing the proposal to proceed with the final design services to that 90% level. So I'm opening it for anybody online or in the building who feels the need to add any additional information that would help to get us to the right place in this process. Do we see anybody online? I do. Edie Serebi, you're welcome to weigh in. You have 3 minutes, please.
I never go over 3 minutes. I don't have anything to say based on what you just said. I just want to say this was extremely informative. It answered a lot of questions, and thank you for doing it.
Well, thank you. We appreciate that. And I know Sam does. Any other comments? Identify yourself and where you live.
Collings, 213 Barker Road. Coming late to the hunt and looking forward to joining some of the civic groups. But in looking at the materials I've looked at, things that I haven't seen included velocity of water flowing down through the open channel and any chemical analysis of the influence. So I'm hoping that you'll be able to let us know who we can talk to about trying to find that information.
I assume that'll come from both the engineers and any other outside subject matter experts, as well as the DEP, which will also be involved intimately in this. And Mr. Collins, I believe we share a friend, Ed Leahy, that we haven't talked about for a long time. Any other questions, Mr. Cherico?
Yeah, I just want to make a quick comment. As Ms. Brinker pointed out, this started many months ago. And thanks to the cooperation of staff here with Ms. Brinker taking the lead on this, this has been, I think, an excellent example of how the township can work with the public. Ms. Brinker has been extremely responsive to the questions, has responded to them. I have seen long emails with answers that she has provided repeatedly over the past year and a half. So I really appreciate that. I know that we, Commissioner Rappaport and I, asked for the staff to be responsive in this process, and you have been, the township has been, and we really appreciate everyone who's been involved in this over the past year and a half, and hopefully this vote will go the way that I hope it goes tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner. It is a great example of involvement, and in frequent situations, it's not the Board of Commissioners, but it's the staff and our subject matter experts that help to guide these kinds of things to the right kind of conclusion. I see no other input, so I'm going to move for approval to authorize Gannett Fleming to proceed with final design services on the Robinson Park Stream Restoration Project as proposed in the September proposal, not to exceed $128,000 with the following conditions. It is subject to additional considerations by regulatory bodies, by township staff, by outside subject matter experts, and also by members of the community and members of the Friends of Robinson Park who have a vested interest and a stake in this process as it continues.
All right, we have a motion on the floor. Any comment or question? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any nays? None, passes unanimously.
Well,
Thank you.
thank you, staff, and thank you, residents. It's greatly appreciated. Now we'll go back to the agenda item. What now is 9B, adoption of a resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for final land development application, CTDA number 25-09F, Ashlyn Apartments, 1900 Ashbourne Road, Elkins Park, for the construction of 3 multi-story buildings containing a total of 99 dwelling units, 8,394 square feet of office space, 8,511 square feet of commercial space, 8,911 square feet of community amenity space, with 217 vehicle parking spaces, including 7 EV charging stations, 11 bicycle stations, along with utility services, walkways, outdoor plaza, a gazebo, and 3 stormwater management systems. There is an extensive attachment. And by the nature of this resolution, what you're seeing is an iterative process with multiple levels of community input, expertise going back and forth with township staff, with our subject matter experts to arrive at a final proposal that was dramatically downscaled, but also amended to reflect some of the amenities and conveniences necessary to make this an additional and important part of that neighborhood and that community. So I think that's very, very critical for where we've arrived at. And this has gone back probably 4 years, I believe, is when this was under consideration. Some of us have gone through that. Any questions or comments from members of the board? Commissioner Rappaport.
Yeah, thank you very much. And yeah, I'll reiterate that it was actually several, or at least one commissioner ago that this process started. So it has been around for a while. And we thank everybody who's been involved. Let me say some good things about it, and then I still have a question or two. So just to remind people, this what was approved by the zoning hearing board was actually a development that's less intense and less than they would have otherwise by right. They got the minimum possible variances, and they're doing things like sidewalks, and they are obligated to do tree replacement. We've been grilling them about that. It may not be as many as I want, but you can't have everything. We've got a commitment for some funding for traffic calming as a result. So there are those good things. I thought I read in the zoning hearing board that one of the conditions was a fiscal impact study. I don't recall ever seeing one. So I guess my first question is, where is it? What stage is that at? And if this board wants to, if it is required and we're waiving it somehow, then either we shouldn't be doing that, or we should be asking for an exchange perhaps from the fiscal impact study to additional traffic relief or additional trees. So I think that's a legal question, and I'll turn it over to whoever can answer that.
Mr. Diazio, do you want to weigh in Me personally, I think the fiscal impact study was a condition and we should.
I remember I
certainly-
requested it.
Should certainly get it, but Mr. Diazio?
Yeah, none of the conditions of the zoning relief are being waived or overlooked in connection with this approval. There was some data that was shared, over the course of the last number of years regarding the impact. Mr. Jonas, counsel for the applicant, is online. I don't know if there's any updated numbers or if there's anything that the developer is looking at. But I know at one point in time, and it may have been 2 years ago at this point, but I know we did see some numbers in terms of what the impact would be.
No, I can't recall any fiscal impact study being presented to us.
Good evening, everyone. This is Aaron Walter, the developer for the project. Can you hear me?
We could hear you.
Great. A fiscal impact study was completed, and I believe it was submitted to the town as part of the preliminary site plan approval application. That was one of the required submission documents along with all the various other items. So that's been out there for about a year or so.
All right, well,
Fair.
if that's the case, we have, it's possible it never got to the board. I think the board should
Supposed to approve it.
get a copy of it and have an opportunity to look at it. And Manager Elliott, can you ensure that the board gets that fiscal impact study? Thank you.
And this is a grant of a conditional approval and associated waivers, and we are not waiving the fiscal impact study.
That's correct, Commissioner.
Thank you. Any other comments or questions from members of the board? I see none. So, Mr. President, I will move for adoption of the resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for a final land development application for the Ashlyn Apartments, 1900 Ashbourne Road, Elkins Park, and with the detail of the construction, et cetera, and with the condition that none of the things that we've requested or discussed is in fact being waived.
All right, we have a motion. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, thank you. And Manager Elliott, if you would make that a top priority, I appreciate that.
And we'll move to item 9C, adoption of a resolution granting conditional approval, associated waivers for preliminary land development application CTDA number 25-10. Foxlane Homes, 1777 Willow Grove Avenue, Lavrock, for the development of the 10.43 acre Hanson Lloyd tract, also known as Falcon Hills and Lavrock Hill, to include 43 townhomes and associated stormwater facilities, landscaping and buffers, lighting, trails, and roadway improvements. There is an attachment, and there have been additional considerations. As a matter of fact, the developer has made a commitment to contribute even in excess of what the township requested, which was $70,000 for a tree fund. They've made a commitment to contribute up to $100,000 for that tree fund. I know it's in your ward, Commissioner Lewis, and if you'd like to take a minute or two just to talk about the process and again, how we've arrived at this after a lot of both the technical issues with our staff and subject matter experts and working directly with the neighbors. So go ahead.
Yes, this was a great project and will continue to be. I want to read something first and then I'll talk about a few details. I want to acknowledge and thank the Lavrock neighbors, excuse me, and the Foxlane home developer for coming together to reach a tentative agreement on the future of 1777 East Willow Grove Avenue. This is a significant moment. For the first time in more than 17 years, all stakeholders, Cheltenham Township, the Lavrock community, the developer, and the ward commissioner, which is me, are aligned on a land development plan that reflects shared priorities and mutual respect. Additionally, I want to thank Ed Diazio for his counsel, hard work, and timely communications and collaboration with all our stakeholders. And everyone knows that no successful project gets done in this township without the support, expertise, collaboration, and effective communication provided by Henry Sekawungu. We are fortunate to have both of you on our Cheltenham team. Since at least 2008, efforts to develop this land have been marked by opposition and impasse. But today we stand at a turning point, one that shows what's possible when we move from conflict to collaboration. This progress didn't come easily. It began with hesitation and a fair amount of skepticism. However, I encouraged our team to move forward and meet with the developer, clearly articulating our concerns and defining what is necessary to preserve Lavrock's beauty, character, and integrity. The Lavrock neighbors made a bold, forward-thinking choice. They chose progress over stagnation and revitalization over continued blight. Their engagement, thoughtfulness, and vision have been nothing short of extraordinary. We have also been fortunate to work with a developer who has earned our trust and shown a genuine commitment to Cheltenham's best interests. What we have achieved here is a powerful example of what can happen when everyone comes together in good faith. When we listen, collaborate, and focus on what is best for the community. I am proud of where we are tonight and deeply optimistic about what this project will bring to Lavrock and to Cheltenham. Thank you for that. And I live in Cheltenham, and Cheltenham lives in me.
Thank you, Commissioner Lewis.
I'm not finished. Don't cut me off. I need more. I need
Never.
3 more minutes.
You get 3 minutes, Commissioner Lewis.
I do want to say that there were many challenges, many concerns that the neighbors had, and one of them was trees. And we pushed hard to deal with the trees. And the buffers. They were pushing for buffers to hide the homes or protect the homes from Willow Grove Avenue. As a result of pushing for that, as Commissioner Zingman-Felt indicated, they have given, or they will give $100,000 in lieu of the tree deficit, which is significant, probably the biggest fee that has ever been gifted for a tree deficit. So I'm happy where we are today. I'm in full support of this project moving forward. And at this point, I have nothing else.
Thank you again, Commissioner Lewis. We also have the land development activity, which is going to include a traffic study, et cetera, because one of our residents tonight raised it, Sonia Bryant Lockett raised it, and that will be one of the things that is under consideration as part of the SALDO, the land development ordinances that accompany every single development after the zoning hearing board weighs in. That's where the township has and exercises a more intense level of control. Any other questions or comments from members of the board? So, Mr. President, I'll move for authorization of the adoption of the resolution granting conditional approval and associated waivers for a preliminary land development application for Foxlane Homes, 1777 Willow Grove Avenue, Lavrock, with the attendant details.
Thank you, Commissioner Zingman-Felt. Well, Commissioner Lewis has my vote, certainly. If there are any questions or comments on the motion, we'll take them now. If not, I'll call the vote. All those in favor say aye.
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 Okay, there were no other items. However, we want to review the acceptance of the regular minutes from the October 8th meeting. And I believe Commissioner Rappaport would like to add an exception to the minutes that were printed out.
Well, it
Commissioner
become-
Rappaport is so recognized.
Thank you. It becomes a little more moot tonight, but the vote that was taken on the Robinson, it may have been unanimous, but it was also under protest. So that needs to be, and that was because of the public input that didn't happen before the vote. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport, and acknowledge that that today we made amends to some of those as well as we did in the last 2 weeks since that meeting. So thank you. So with that, I'll ask for approval of the minutes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Commissioner Ziegmanfeld. So approval of the minutes, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
It's noted. Moving on to item number 10, the Building and Zoning Committee meeting also met on October 8th, 2025. We have one item to bring before the board. Item 10A, adoption of a resolution renewing the contract with the Montgomery County Planning Commission to provide planning assistance and technical services from January 1st, 2026 through December 31st, 2028. We had some extensive discussion at the committee meeting. Mr. Jarrell from the Montgomery County Planning Commission came, and we even heard an unsolicited comment in public forum this evening. So I will move for adoption of the resolution. If there are any comments or questions, we'll take them now. Commissioner Ziegman.
Mr. President, is really significant. We've spent the last 2 to 2.5 years with their input and with their expert counsel on our comprehensive plan, which is tomorrow is our last group meeting, but still many things needing to be resolved. And they have been incredibly helpful and also insightful in helping us to envision what the township should look like and plan for by 2040. So some of you on this board may still be active, and we hope that the Planning Commission will continue to provide us with that counsel and assistance. Thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Ziegmanfeld, and many thanks to you, Commissioner Rappaport, and others who have been involved in the comprehensive plan all these years, and we will continue the legacy that you laid out for us. Okay, any other comments or questions? All right, seeing none, I'll move for adoption of the resolution. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item number 11, the Public Safety Committee met on October 15th, and there are several items to bring before the board. Commissioner Brockington chairs that committee.
Thank you, Mr. President. Yes, we have 2 items to vote on tonight. We did meet on October 15th. So item 11A, authorize advertisement of an ordinance amending chapter 285, vehicle and traffic, section 285-43, street and parking regulations of Cheltenham Township Code to restrict parking on a portion of Surrey Road. There was not too much discussion. I think everyone was sort of in agreement. I think I did bring up, the portion of, I didn't know what portion meant, but I think we're okay with that. It's in the ordinance. Yes, it's in the ordinance. Thank you, Commissioner Terrico. So, Mr. President, I call for a vote on item 11A.
All right. Any comments or question on Commissioner Brockington's motion? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye. Thank you. We're going to move on down to a very important item. A lot of discussion on this today. I want to thank our neighbors for basically making sure that this township, that we keep letting everybody know what type of township we have. And so this will hopefully help make that happen. Item 11B, adoption of a resolution memorializing the township's policy with respect to immigration enforcement and the role of the township officials and police officers in relations to the U.S. Immigration and Custom Enforcement, better known as ICE. And that resolution is attached. Is there any questions or any comments from the commissioners before we move on? Commissioner Rappaport?
Thanks. I think we all probably took to heart the comments from the floor, particularly about making sure that our communications are in the language of the people in our community, especially those who need them. So I think all efforts should be made to, once we pass this, to get it out there in all those languages, and thank you.
Yes, I agree. Any other commissioners comment? All right, Mr. President, I would call for a vote on item 11B with the caveat from Commissioner Rappaport.
Yeah, I think added to that, there's no question that we are going to make sure that it is posted to the extent it passes, and look into that very issue that Commissioner Rappaport raised. I want to echo Commissioner Brockington's thanks to the community for pressing this issue. I want to thank our police chief, our solicitor, and this board for the hard work and dialogue that got us to this point. It really is an honor to call the vote on this resolution. So with that, all those in favor of adopting the resolution memorializing the township's policy as listed herein, say aye.
Aye. Thank you.
Any nays? Seeing none, passes unanimously.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
So then I just call for the approval of the minutes from the meeting that took place on October 15th for public safety.
All right. Any comments or questions on the motion? I don't think they're clapping about the minutes. I think they're clapping about the resolution.
So, wow, you guys really.
So thank you, everybody.
Thanks, everybody.
And we have a motion on the floor to approve the minutes of the Public Safety Committee from October 15, 2025. All in favor, say aye.
Aye. You're not allowed to leave yet.
You can't leave. No. That was part of the resolution. You got to stay for the whole meeting.
Thank you, everybody. All right, moving on to item number 12, Public Affairs Committee also met on October 15th. Commissioner Rappaport chairs that committee and has a report for us, please.
Right, and it's really good that no one's around to hear it, right? Okay. We did meet at that time on behalf of the committee. They would like to move approval of an updated brand identity, direction number 3, to unify our message for the township. So on behalf of the committee, I so move.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. We have a motion to approve both the logo direction, which is logo direction 3, and the tagline, which is listed here on the agenda, but I'll reiterate as rich history, vibrant future, which really I think does in many respects capture Cheltenham, our rich past, the opportunities facing all of us, and all the hard work that was put into this project, not only by Lauren Walter, but the entire team, and many thanks for that. Any comments or questions on the motion? All right, seeing none, all those in favor say aye. Aye. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Item B, the approval of a proclamation honoring 8 new inductees into the Cheltenham High School Alumni Association Hall of Fame. It was actually printed out. I don't know that it's necessary to read it. Have you all, shall I send it down so everybody has a chance to make sure they've taken a look at it?
I think folks have seen it,
Okay.
We've seen it.
but
Yeah, seen it.
and we'll make sure that it's in the record and presented.
Okay, so the committee did move for that, and I so move tonight.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Any comments or questions? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you.
And finally, just a recommendation to approve the minutes from that meeting.
Again, comments or questions on the minutes? All right, seeing none, all those in favor of approving the Public Affairs Committee meeting minutes from October 15th, 2025, say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Thank you, Commissioner
Thank you.
Rappaport. The Finance Committee also met on October 15th. Commissioner Norris, please.
Thank you, Mr. President. The Finance Committee met on October 15th. There were no items that will require our attention this evening. So I will just make a motion to move an acceptance of the minutes from that evening.
Any comments or questions on the motion to accept the minutes? Seeing none, all those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, thank you, everybody. Moving on to item 14, old business. There's nothing on the agenda for old business, but does the board have any old business for our consideration? Commissioner Rappaport.
Well, thank you. And just a huge thanks to everybody who's been involved, the police, public works, all you folks who have been monitoring the disastrous, frankly, traffic problems after the detours and the road closings after during the Church Road intersection project. You all know what chaos it is and the impacts to our neighborhoods. So even though you're working real hard, having all kinds of suggestions, I've seen 3, I think, improvements in the signs in the last less than a week that this has been going on. So I appreciate that, but we're not there yet. Just today, there were, I don't know, 3 tractor trailer trucks going up Barker or down, whatever, down Barker Road. And with all the kids, and this is at rush hour. So kids are walking, families are walking, doing all kinds of stuff there. People are trying to get out of their driveways. We still need to figure out a better solution. Just thank you for keeping your eyes on it and working on solutions. We have a number of solutions from some of the families involved. I keep you in touch with all the ones I come up with. So thank you.
Thank you, Commissioner Rappaport. Any other items for old business this evening? Going once, twice. Okay, we're going to close old business. Item number 15 is new business. We have several new business agenda items for the board's consideration. Item 15A, consider approval of an amendment to the escrow agreement dated December 19th, 2019 between Aqua Pennsylvania Wastewater, Inc. and Cheltenham Township. There's an attachment, and we'll have Mr. Diazio, if you don't mind, please give us a brief overview of what we're looking at here.
Sure. Thank you, Commissioner Arman. As the board and the community know, a number of years ago, the township had sold the sewer system to Aqua. As part of that sale, there were some follow-up items that the township needed to take care of following the sale, one of which was to obtain several hundred sewer easements that were not recorded in the public records at the time of the sale. And there was a deadline in that sale of the sewer system agreement as to when the township needed to complete that work. The township's been working on securing the easements. We've been obtaining the ones that we can and have been assigning those easements over to Aqua. We do need a little bit more time to complete the task. Aqua was open to an extension of time given the good faith efforts that the township has been making. So the document that you see before you is simply an agreement with Aqua to extend our deadline for 2 additional years till the end of 2027.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Diazio. And just so the everybody's sort of on the same page here, notwithstanding our need to get an extension, because we want to make sure we get the extension, every easement that we, I think, identified, maybe that's not the right word, but there's probably an engineering term for that. We get a piece of the escrow money back to us. And that is a process that's been going on for some time. Still needs to be completed. This extension will help and allow us to receive those monies. And our township engineer has committed to a relatively expedited time frame in order to process those easements. And that is certainly appreciated from Mr. Phillips and his team. Any other comments or questions? Commissioner Ziegler-Feld.
So, Mr. Diazio, could you let the public know what the original escrow account was, and then what the what's remaining in that balance, and how many original easements needed to be executed?
If I recall, and I'm doing this from memory here because the sewer sale was so long ago, but if I recall, there was about $750,000 that was escrowed, that was held back at the time of the sale. With each easement that we obtain and assign over to Aqua, there's between $1,500 and $1,600 from that escrow that gets released to the township. And then once the final easement gets assigned to Aqua, there's a large one-time payment of about $300,000 or $350,000 that gets released to the township. We still have about 200 easements to obtain and turn over, most of which are in progress at some level. And so the majority of that $750,000 is still being held. It's probably between $500,000 and $600,000 at this point.
Maybe just another point is I think this would be a good time, as we talked about with the immigration policy. I think it's important to create a higher level of awareness and communication, particularly with residents not understanding the implications of signing off on those easements, what they mean, and whether there's any compensation involved, et cetera. So I think what we have to do is communicate a little bit more extensively the impact and the implications for those easements, and to make sure that there are issues that if we do not, then at some point we will lose out on those significant funds. And that's not something in our current fiscal state that we really want to do.
Yeah, thank you, Commissioner Ziegman-Feld. Commissioner Cherico.
This obviously happened before I was on the board, and so I'm coming in with a little bit blind to this, but is there perhaps some sort of expectations or some sort of benchmarks or goals we should be setting so that we don't find ourselves at the end of this, again, not being able to achieve all that we're required to? I mean, it seems to me that we're giving, what is it, 2-3 years or something? 2 years. I mean, I don't want to be waiting. I don't want to be here at the end of my term having to extend this again. So perhaps for discussion upcoming in the next next public works meeting or whatever, we can discuss what types of benchmarks we set for the engineers to take care of this and move us along.
Yeah, certainly that's a discussion that we could have. All right. Any other comments or questions? All right, I'll move for approval of the amendment to the escrow agreement dated December 19th, 2019 for the extension. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Item 15B, consider approval of a settlement agreement between Cheltenham Township and Midgard Properties 3 LP to resolve outstanding eminent domain litigation between the parties, docketed at Montgomery County Court of Common Pleas number 2025-18467. Upon the terms and conditions outlined in the attached settlement agreement, there's a parcel number and an attachment. Mr. Diazio, will you please give us an update?
Sure. As the board knows, this acquisition of this property is a property that the township needed to acquire in connection with the DEP Glenside Flood Control Project. There were 3 properties that had been identified that the township needed to acquire. One property was acquired, I believe it was late last year in 2024. There were 2 properties that were left. Eminent domain proceedings were initiated on both of those 2 properties because we weren't able to reach an amicable settlement as to the financial terms of the acquisition at the time. That litigation has progressed, but only to a very small degree, and we were able to negotiate mutually agreeable terms with the owner. So this is the parking lot property right over off of Rice's Mill Road, and this will completely resolve all of the acquisition related legal issues. And we will have complete title to this property once we make payment in the coming weeks. So there will just be one more property to acquire, and we are in the process of doing so. So it's really neat to see this project finally moving along. I believe this was another project that had stalled for some time, and we have really tried to take some significant steps to get it moving again.
Thank you, Mr. Diazio. As Mr. Diazio said, this is sort of a cornerstone. This particular property is a cornerstone of the DEP Glenside Flood Mitigation Project that's been in the on the books for many years. and that this board took very strong and affirmative action to make sure that it was moving forward. And between our staff, Mr. Diazio, and this board, we have made significant progress. Again, this is a cornerstone piece of that project. I do want to just ask one question, Mr. Diazio. So as we settle this and make the payment under the settlement agreement, at that point, it will become Cheltenham Township property and under the authority of Cheltenham Township, and any vehicles that are on there, abandoned or otherwise, I assume will be moved unless they're Cheltenham Township authorized vehicles. Would that be accurate?
Correct.
Okay, thank you. Thank you. All right. There you go. Any other comments or questions that I can steal from you, like I just did from Commissioner Rappaport? All right.
You did it so much better than I would have.
Not true. Thank you very much. All right. So with that, I will move for approval of the settlement agreement as herein described. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And thank you, Mr. Diazio. Item 15C, consider approval of 3 settlement stipulations between Cheltenham Township, Cheltenham School District, Montgomery County, and the Montgomery County Board of Assessment Appeals, and Lindy Wingcoat LP, the property owner, to resolve a tax assessment appeal litigation docketed at the Montgomery County Court of Common Pleas. There are several docket numbers that are listed herein and tax parcel numbers, and there's an attachment which Mr. Diazio, if you would be so kind as to enlighten us again, it would be appreciated.
Sure. So as the board knows, all tax assessment appeal settlement stipulations come before the board for approval. That's a process that we have implemented in recent years. The property in question here, the reason that there are 3 settlement stipulations, this is for the property that most folks probably know as the towers at Wingcoat. There are 3 towers. Each tower is a separate tax parcel. So when you resolve the litigation of the tax assessment appeal, there's actually a separate tax assessment for each tower. And so each assessment that you're changing results in a separate settlement agreement. So this will resolve a 2025 owner-initiated real estate tax assessment appeal on this property. And I will note that one of the provisions of the settlement agreement is that the property owner agrees not to appeal the tax assessment in 2026. So there won't be a further reduction in the assessment into next year.
And Mr. Diazio, just to put a finer point on it, could you just describe what the reduction is? Because I think in the context of our budget discussions and fiscal discussions, the issue of tax assessments is something that we have to face. Tax assessment appeals, I should say, is something we have to face as we look forward in our budgeting process.
Sure. I'm pulling up the documents now. So on one of the towers, the impact for township taxes is roughly $42,000. On the second one, the impact is roughly $35,000. And on the third tower, the impact is roughly $37,000 or $38,000. So when you do that math, you get about $115,000 impact. There were appraisals that were performed. These settlements are actually settlements at quite significantly higher, more favorable to the township than what the owner's appraisals actually valued these properties at.
Yeah, we appreciate the yeoman's work on negotiating those settlements. Any comments or questions on this item? I'm looking down here. No, Commissioner Rappaport.
I think, I realize there's a process. We lost the process. We did the best we could. But I think what people might have a hard time understanding is why at a time when real estate values have been going up, somehow their real estate value went down. and I don't get it, and I think a lot of other people don't quite get it. Is there any explanation at all?
Sure. So the easiest way I can explain it in probably 60 or 90 seconds here is that your tax assessment doesn't change on your property every year. In Montgomery County, for that matter, the county has not reassessed tax assessments since the late 1990s. So if any individual in Montgomery County were to go onto the public records, public property records, and look at the assessment of their home, they would see a number. And that number is intended to reflect the value of the real estate back in the late 1990s, which is when the last time the county reassessed all properties in Montgomery County. So how do you take that assessment from the late 1990s and figure out what that means in today's dollars? And so the way in which that works under current Pennsylvania law is that annually a ratio is published by the Commonwealth, and it's a county by county ratio. So you take the assessment from the 1990s and you apply a ratio. And that ratio tells you what the approximate value of that property should then be in current day market value terms. So from 2022, which is when the last time the Towers property was under appeal, to 2025, the actual implied market value of that property has gone up by tens of millions of dollars. So the value has gone up. The issue is that the ratio suggests that it has gone up significantly more than what it has actually gone up. So while the tax burden for these properties is going down, it's not that the market value is going down. It's that the market value is not increasing as quickly as the ratio otherwise suggests. And as a result, the owner is entitled to seek a reduction, just as the school district and the township can seek an increase if a property is increasing in value at a rate faster than the ratio would otherwise dictate. I hope that helps. I'm happy to talk offline, or it's a very, very technical topic.
I think that was useful for everybody to understand. Thank you.
Yeah, that was an excellent on the fly description. Thank you.
Kudos.
Yeah. Okay. Any other comments or questions on this agenda item? All right. If not, I'll move for approval of the 3 settlement stipulations as listed in item 15C. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. And last but certainly not least, item 15D, consider approval of a 5-year non-exclusive lease agreement between Cheltenham Township and Cheltenham Township Sports for the use of designated athletic fields and facilities at Township Park facilities upon the terms and conditions outlined in the attachment. I will turn it over to Mr. Diazio, but I just want to say that the folks over at Cheltenham Sports worked really well with us in a collaborative effort to reach this agreement. And I give many thanks to them on not only this process, but frankly, all that they do for our community and for our kids in the community. So Mr. Diazio, if you wouldn't mind.
Sure. And thank you for that intro to this item. I completely echo all of those sentiments. A number of years ago, our insurance carriers had recommended that when groups like Cheltenham Sports utilize our fields for that matter, that we have some sort of written agreement that outlines the terms and conditions of the use. And so a year or so ago, we worked on an agreement with the Cheltenham Little League, and Cheltenham Sports is the other large organization that uses a number of fields throughout the township. And so once the Cheltenham Little League contract was done, we started working on the Cheltenham Sports agreement. And it was a great collaborative discussion with Cheltenham Sports. Their board was great to work with. Their president, Kristen Smith, did a great job coordinating with us and meeting with us and coming to, I think, a really fair agreement here. So this is a great document to see finally get to the finish line. This agreement will be in place for 5 years, and that's the same term, as I recall, that we have in place with the Little League.
All right. Thank you, Mr. Diazio. Any comments or questions on this item? If not, I'll move for approval of the 5-year agreement with Cheltenham Sports. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Thank you. Is there any other new business from the board for this evening? All right. To quote Commissioner Pransky, it's all old business by now. All right, we'll close new business and we'll open up item 16, which is citizens forum. So it looks like we have a couple of people on Zoom. Before we get to Zoom, is there anyone here in the hall that from the public that wishes to provide comment for citizens forum? Going once, twice. All right. Then we'll go to Zoom, and our first person on here is Mary Russell. Miss Russell, please.
Thanks, Mary Russell from East Cheltenham, and I neglected to, well, first of all, thank you to the commissioners for the votes tonight, but I also want to thank the staff and council and everybody else who had input on the immigration welcoming policy. It was a lot of people worked together, and I appreciate everybody's hard work. And I forgot to say what part of the township I was in when I spoke before, so I wanted to add that.
Thank you very much. Ms. Serby, welcome.
Glad to be here. Edie Serby Wincoat, and I'm speaking on behalf of the Cheltenham Chamber of Citizens. The Cheltenham Home Rule Charter gives residents the right to be heard at public meetings, and tonight's meeting was a wonderful example of citizens having the opportunity to exercise that right. I wasn't at the past 2 weeks' meetings, so what will follow may not need to be said, but I'm going to say it anyway. The statement at the top of each committee meeting agenda reads, "Commissioners will recognize any citizen wishing to address a specific item prior to a vote on that issue." In fact, as you know, the right to speak before any action by the commissioners is codified in the ordinance known as the Public Participation Ordinance passed by the board on May 15th of last year. Our observation was that its implementation fell short in the provision to ensure, quote, taxpayers are afforded due opportunity to engage in public discourse, unquote, when it pertains to resident taxpayer comments before a vote or action. Too often, after commissioner comments on an agenda item, items were voiced, a vote was called for with no pause or no chance for residents to raise their hands and no call for public comment. In the case of the October Public Works Committee meeting, the chair decided that public comment would not be heard on an agenda item. This, even though there was a pending vote to approve a recommendation before the board, and the chair was aware that there were residents who attended the meeting specifically to comment on that agenda item. In the commentary on the Home Rule Charter, Article 14, Chapter 1406, which is posted on the township website, it states, "It's important that members of the public receive an opportunity to present varying points of view to the board before it acts. Similarly, the members of the board will gain by knowing the views held by at least those persons who care to present them." When people who care take the time to attend a meeting, commissioners have a duty to assure that they are heard. We call on the commissioners to see that that right is met consistently, and we trust that this will be the practice moving forward. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Serby. Hong Wiseman is next.
Hi, I appreciate the opportunity to speak, and I want to express our appreciation for the commissioners, especially our Ward 4 commissioner, to be willing to listen to residents' concern of the traffic situation. We live on Barker Road, and Barker Road has been most severely affected since the very beginning of the Church Road relaning project, not just starting a few weeks ago. And that had led to a petition that had been signed by the majority of the residents on Barker Road for a traffic calming study. And we understand that the township did place some speed bump near the school. However, unfortunately, that really did not affect the traffic pattern very much. Since the 24/7 road closure of Greenwood Avenue immediately south of Barker Road a few weeks ago, the traffic situation on Barker Road has really become dangerous for both the local residents and perhaps even more so for the drivers, and especially the drivers of large vehicles. And we very recently just witnessed a poor Acme humongous food truck driver. He was just stuck at the intersection of Barker Road and Greenwood. He couldn't go further south, and he couldn't fit onto Barker Road. So we don't really know. We didn't stop around because we were driving. We didn't know how the poor guy got out of that situation. And this morning, we saw a gigantic tractor trailer we've never even seen ever on Greenwood Avenue that was tracking through Barker Road. So we really feel that this current traffic situation on a road that has an elementary school as well as a nursing home really constitutes a liability for the township. Therefore, it really needs to be addressed. And we felt that in order for the detour to work as intended, that is for majority of the traffic, for the non-local traffic to use Washington Lane, Eastern Road, or Old York Road, that the blockage of Greenwood Avenue needs to be moved north of Barker Road, preferably way north of Barker Road. And that really needs to be done as soon as possible before a bad accident happens. I understand that maybe since yesterday or today, there are additional roadblock signs placed on Greenwood Avenue further north of Barker Road. But
Ms.
our
Weissman,
fear is
your time is up. So
I just have a one sentence.
go ahead.
Our fear is that with the modern technology, with the width it's tomorrow is going to find the traffic moves. It's going to redirect everybody back. Therefore, we felt that the blockage point really needs to be moved north of Barker Road, preferably maybe at where a township line and the township line under the Cheltenham Hill Drive. That would protect the entire community. If not, at least move several blocks or one block north of Barker Road to share the burden instead of put all the burden onto Barker Road. I appreciate your attention.
Thank you very much for those comments. Okay, we'll ask Chief Slavin and his team to continue to monitor the situation and take appropriate steps as available. All right, thank you. Any other citizens forum for this evening? All right, we'll close citizens forum and I will move for adjournment of tonight's Board of Commissioners meeting, 9:42. Maybe I was predicting earlier. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.